Hey guys, welcome back to Behind the Apron podcast. I'm your host, Cassie, and this is Reality Check, Please. We have a little bit of a different type of episode today. I have been meaning to cover it, and I just haven't had the time until just now. But if you haven't already heard, for those who are Friends fans like I am, I had my gender reveal slash baby shower was Friends themed, and we are a huge Friends family. So when I heard the news about the doctors pleading guilty in the Matthew Perry murder case, I was floored. I know that they had indicted the doctors and that this was kind of a story that was developing over the past few months, which I'm glad that they chose to investigate further because we found out what we needed to find out. I feel like the real Friends fans would know that Matthew Perry would have never done this to himself. Although he was battling with everything that he was, it was very sad to see him go, and even more so the way that he did. So we're going to jump into the latest article that the LA magazine has dropped. So they released this, I think, earlier today. So the Los Angeles magazine says dirty doctor who sold deadly dose of ketamine to Matthew Perry pleads guilty. So apparently there were two doctors, one from Santa Monica and the other from San Diego. The original Santa Monica doctor, Dr. Salvador Plasencia, he reached out to the San Diego doctor called Mark Chavez, and they were kind of conspiring to sell a deadly dose of ketamine to Matthew Perry. It says here, the Santa Monica doctor who federal prosecutors say provided the deadly dose of ketamine that killed struggling addict Matthew Perry pled guilty to federal charges related to profiteering off the addict. Plasencia pleaded guilty to 4 counts of distribution of ketamine relating to his death. So he pled guilty on Wednesday, yesterday, in the downtown Los Angeles federal courtroom. He is facing up to 40 years in prison, which I think given that that's basically 10 years per count, per charge, which I don't think is enough or equivalent, given that he not only did this, but he also took advantage of a struggling addict, which I think deserves minimum life in prison. I am no lawyer, no attorney. I think that such a loving man like Matthew Perry, who was already struggling, and for all these people to take of him is kind of shitty. But what do you guys think? Plasencia then admitted to contacting Chavez to say that Perry was willing to pay a premium to acquire the drug in the months before the actor's death. Chavez, who also agreed to plead guilty, wrote a fake script in the name of a real patient. So that also is kind of like fraud. So it's like, not only are you doing all these things, but you're also committing fraud. During the drug deals, Plasencia had discussed how much to gouge Perry in a text message that read, I wonder how much this moron will pay. Let's find out. There was also a third. So there was actually 4 people involved per this article. 2 doctors, one of Matthew Perry's very good friends, Eric Fleming, and then an alleged dealer by the name of Jasmine Sanga, aka the ketamine queen. They have charged up to tens of thousands of dollars per this article. Fleming was actually considered the go-between between Matthew and this dealer, the ketamine queen. He bought up to 50 vials of ketamine from Sanga and dropped them off to Matthew Perry's live-in personal assistant just 4 days before he passed away in his hot tub. Again, as huge Friends fans, this is such a disservice to only let this man kind of serve 40 years. I understand that. How old is this doctor? Looks disheveled. Aw. We love you, Chandler Bing. I'm assuming that people will be talking about it. If he's getting charged, then then they may not have a trial. They may just have sentencing if they already plead guilty. So what I found interesting is that Sanga, who was the dealer, she has not pled guilty at all. So the 2 doctors and his friend have already pled guilty. So far, we only have the sentencing of the main doctor, Plasencia, I guess, who actually saw him regularly. I'm not sure if you guys saw the documentary. I know Kelly Osbourne was on it. So TMZ Investigates dropped the Matthew Perry and the Secret Celebrity drug ring documentary earlier this year, and Kelly Osbourne went on it, and she says that Hollywood and these doctors are all in on some sort of sick agreement. They go to AA, but then they kind of convince you to fall off the wagon so that you can continue to see them and basically pay. She said it was like a never ending cycle. It was a really good documentary. I think Jake Paul, Logan Paul, one of the Pauls was on it, if I'm not mistaken, and then some other celebrities. So it was actually a very good watch. I would recommend you watch it. You can watch it on the Hulu app. It was kind of sad to see what a lot of these actors, actresses celebrities have to go through, and to think that you are going to be putting your life, like your life, your addiction in other people's hands who take the oath to serve you and to protect you, and then for them to kind of do this to you is very sad. So I think that the more we talk about it, the more we bring awareness, the better. I know that this is more of like a reality page, but we have to kind of talk about all things on TV. And Chandler Bing, if you're a Friends fan, you know Matthew Perry was a huge part of a lot of people, like millennials who grew up with Matthew Perry and Friends. And to have him be the first to go this way, I was telling Manny that it is so refreshing and it's so kind of comforting that we were able to get a reunion before he passed. So that at least was a silver lining. But what do you guys think? Drop all your comments down below. Let me know what you think about the sentencing and that the doctor could face up to 40 years. Do you think that's enough? Because I personally don't. But we'll catch you guys later. Happy Thursday.